Off the Hook, airing on offthehooksports.com, your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. The Off the Hook podcast at offthehooksports.com or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you go for your favorite podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Off the Hook with Dave Hooker starts now.
Welcome to the program as we're with you for the next hour and a half. Please click that like and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. No, Amanda LaFratta doesn't look much different. It's Caleb Calhoun who joins us now. Caleb is going to be working with us with offthehooksports.com, and we appreciate that. A big show today. Coming up, we're going to hear from Latrell Bumpus on the program, Jacob Warren, and also get into a little bit more of this television debate with the Big Ten and the SEC. But first, Caleb, welcome to the party. Amanda LaFratta will be with us very shortly. Caleb, how are you, sir?
Thanks, Dave. It's good to be here. Doing pretty well. I'm not used to waking up this early usually, but I'm more of a later. I'm a later guy myself. But yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, we're certainly excited to have you a part of the team and looking forward to football season. And Caleb, in particular, you have a piece up right now on Latrell Bumpus. If you can just kind of tell me about Latrell, because you dug in pretty deep there, and some people may not remember that he was actually moved to tight end at one point, and now he's depended upon to be a good chunk of Tennessee's pass rush.
Yeah, Latrell is actually you could kind of draw some similarities to him and Matthew Butler last year. Matthew Butler never played on offense, but he did move from defensive end to the inside, and then obviously the switch from the 4-3 to the 3-4 back to the 4-3. When Latrell first arrived, he had committed as a defensive end to Butch Jones when Bob Shoop was defensive coordinator. And then you can imagine Jeremy Pruitt comes, moves him to tight end, and then a year later moves him back to defensive end. In 2019, we really got a pretty good preview of what Latrell could be because he wasn't the full-time starter defensive end yet, but he was really productive. He had 6 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks, and really just never was able to build off that. 2020, he got hurt the second half of the season in 2020, and honestly, it's hard to really count anything that happened in 2020. There was no real off season for anybody because of COVID or anything like that. So then Tim Banks and Josh Heupel come last year, move him over to defensive tackle, which was another big change for him. And then he spends last year recovering from injury while also having to play in a different position in a different system, and still actually had a relatively high PFF regular season grade for that. And so now with Matthew Butler gone, there's more expectations for him. You got, Amari Thomas is a returning starter, defensive tackle, but you got Latrell Bumpus, Karat Garland, a couple of really experienced guys. But I think, Bumpus has a really good chance to be a major playmaker this year for the Vols. And he's kind of already proven, if you give him a chance and he's got a little bit of stability and a little bit of experience in a system, he can really be productive. So we'll kind of see how that goes this year.
Caleb, tight ends on the docket today, so we'll look forward to your stuff on offthehooksports.com. Have a fantastic day, and again, welcome to the team. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Thank you, Caleb Calhoun. He's writing about Latrell Bumpus, and I accidentally took Amanda away instead of Caleb. Now I've got it figured out. Amanda LaFratta, how are you this morning?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
I'm well. You look gorgeous as usual. A lot of goings on. Because I know when Amanda has been busted, I get an email at about 12:31. So I would encourage people to go to our YouTube channel and check it out because a lot of great videos that Amanda's put together and gives you something fantastic to watch, debate with your friends and all that good stuff. But Amanda, one of the things I know you had focused on via your Twitter feed and so on is this Big Ten SEC contract, and I don't know when the SEC is going to come up. I guess technically it has like something stupid like 8 years, but I would think it's going to get redone when you see $1.2 billion to the Big Ten versus about $365 million annually to the SEC. That's not a comparable number at all.
No, it has to get redone. There's no way it doesn't get redone. If it does not, for some strange reason, I mean, there's not if it does not get redone, it's gonna be redone. I'm interested to see if ESPN can hang on, honestly. The guy, I think
You are
that
ready
is
to
it.
throw the dirt on the grave.
I am. I do not like ESPN. I will not lie. I don't like ESPN. It's very
That's
clear.
fair. I think you're in a growing minority, maybe close to being a majority. I think it's out there. John asked if Dixon had left the team. He keeps hearing about Bru, but has Dixon left the team? And you're referring to the running back who transferred from West Virginia, John L. Dixon, I believe. And he went to Clemson. Lynn J. I know I was going to mess up his name. Lynn J. Dixon.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's gone. He's ghosted you. John, I'm sorry. That's felt like a desperation move, just taking him in the get. And it was because Lynette Whitehead was hurt in the beginning of the year. And Tennessee's not real deep at running back. But, I was thinking back to that. And certainly they could have a rash of injuries like Alabama had at running back last year. It could happen. But really, who enters the season saying, oh, boy, we've got 6 All-American running backs, man. We're taking this thing by storm. No worries whatsoever. Nobody does. I mean, I think Jabari Small, as long as he's healthy, is going to be very good. I think the light will come on for Justin Williams-Thomas at some point. I like Dylan Sampson's speed. Hyatt, get healthy. I could go on and on and on. But at the end of the day, Amanda, there aren't a lot of college programs out there that say, boy, we've got 2 of these guys that could win the Heisman. Let's get rolling.
No, there's not many. But the Lynn J. Dixon thing is not surprising. I mean, he's transferring 18 days after getting to Tennessee. I think it's very this whole transfer portal thing is just out there. Like, it's just crazy. And 18 days.
Yeah. Can I throw this out there?
Yeah.
Maybe he's the exact opposite of Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson didn't like practice. He liked games. Not a game. We're talking about practice. Maybe Lynn J. Dixon just likes practice. He likes practicing at Clemson and not playing because he gets in trouble. He goes to West Virginia, takes part in spring camp, comes to Tennessee, couple weeks. Let's pop some pads, and then let's call it a career.
I highly doubt that's it. I think he's just a problem. I mean, I think he's a problem. And I think maybe he got to Tennessee and, within 18 days knew that he would never see the field. Like, just knew it.
Yeah, he wasn't. And part of the reasons John asked, I hear the freshman running backs are doing well. Well, part of the reason he left, John, is because Justin Williams-Thomas is starting to flash, I've been told. And by that, I mean he's a young guy who's starting to make some plays. Is he ready in pass protection and every single other thing? Absolutely not. But, yeah, he's starting to flash. Yeah, he's starting to flash a little bit. And so suddenly, if you're Dixon, you see yourself being behind him, being behind, of course, Jabari Small, being behind possibly Hyatt healthy, being behind Dylan Sampson. Suddenly you're at best 4th on the depth chart at best, right?
I mean, yeah. Where are you gonna go, man? Like, where are you gonna go? Who's gonna take this on?
I think you should look at this with a more optimistic viewpoint, and that is he knows West Virginia's playbook. So just go back, be a Mountaineer.
Yeah. Does he though? Does he really know it? You know what I'm asking? Like the Kyler Murray thing, does he really know it?
Yeah, probably not. Well, if you combined all the playbooks, he may know an entire playbook. Clemson, Tennessee's, and West Virginia.
He only knows 18 days of Tennessee.
Fair.
So I doubt it.
I'm not sure how much he got from 4 years at Clemson either. Honeybee Coffee, go with the B, not the Bucks. Why, Amanda LaFratta? Because it's the top 5% of the beans in the entire world. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's really impressive, especially since it's a local business. It's local to Knoxville. I mean, they do ship worldwide, but it's local to Knoxville. And so that's pretty insane to have the top 5% of the beans in the world, considering all of the supply chain issues and everything else we've had. They keep going. They're going just fine. So
It's the beans that keep you going. Yeah, coffee has caffeine in it. That could be part of it. There you go. The beans keep you going. Now let's go with not the Bucks. The
okay.
bean. Yeah, I like not the Bucks, but yeah, I like that a little bit better. So Jacob Warren will join us on the program. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button because we'd like to be a part of your day. We begin our show every weekday at 8:30 until 10 o'clock. So a lot of coverage of Tennessee, the SEC, and more. So I'm curious because part of the reason I love working with Amanda is that she will be the first to tell you she is not a tried and true Tennessee fan. That's not her jam. She went to Tennessee, she went to Alabama. So I like to get her perspective on the Tennessee thing. So, and in particular with Bru McCoy. Are Tennessee fans just griping and upset because one of their guys isn't available? Or is the griping and being upset justifiable at this point? Outside looking in, what do you think? I really don't know what you're going to say, to be honest with you.
It's 100% justifiable. I mean,
Okay.
this is ridiculous. They how long has this been going on? I mean, and why are there other transfers like Dixon that just transferred 18 days ago? He's cleared. He's completely cleared.
Well, I guess the reason would be he was a graduate transfer. So as much as he hates
But
the playbook, maybe he goes to school.
I mean, maybe, but it doesn't make any sense. I understand graduate transfer, but that shouldn't matter anymore. These players are getting paid. They're not.
Oh, I know. Like I read
That doesn't matter.
I read that phrase and I was like, "Oh, what in the world does that have to do with anything anymore?" So you could be
Who
1 hour
cares?
away from your undergrad and you can't play immediately.
Exactly. It makes no sense. So if I were a Tennessee fan, yeah, I would not be happy.
Yeah.
So
I was curious about
it
that.
just seems singled out. It just seems like targeted, or I don't know what it is. It just seems like everybody else is going okay. Everything else is great in the world of, college sports, but this guy can't play.
Any correlation, do you believe, between the fact that there is or was, I guess it's wrapped up now, the NCAA investigation ongoing, or are those totally unrelated?
Not unless they just have a couple of people that are solely based on just deal with Tennessee things and they're backed up. I don't think that's the case. I mean, I really don't. I don't think it's IRS agents or anything. I don't think
You,
that's the case.
you just got assigned to the Nealon wing. Oh, that's no good.
Yeah.
I'll have to work all the time. Owl's Nest Barbecue loves working all the time because they love what they do, and that is barbecue, not just a food. It's a method, slowly cooking meat at low temperatures. That is Owl's Nest Barbecue, and they have all the wood chips, the pellets, the sauces, and the rubs. Owl's Nest Barbecue. Again, check them out right next to Steve Ray's Midnight Oil, and Steve Ray's Midnight Oil does all the work on my vehicle. He should do all the work on yours. All right. So, Amanda, today's tough question. Again, no earthly idea which direction you're going to go, which I kind of like that. Like going in fresh, like Costanza's dad. So it is time for today's tough question right now on Off the Hook Sports.
We do our research. Have you done your research?
We're working like heck.
Today's tough question. What's the real debate?
You sipping my Soupe Guadalupe?
Exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker and Amanda LaFratta.
You drinking my sake kimosabi?
Oh my God.
I will go ahead and tell you today's tough question. After watching press conference video, I would like to know what the coaches do to keep themselves from reaching down and grabbing the Coke Zero that's right in front of them. And
Probably not cold.
oh, that's a good idea because who wants a hot one?
Nobody. Absolutely.
Because like I feel
Absolutely no
bad
one.
about drinking sometimes. If you're watching on the video stream, I feel bad about drinking my Coke Zero here, and but it's just sitting there staring at me like you love me. So what
I feel bad about drinking stuff on the show.
I can tell you do as you drink something on the show. So I yeah, it's just calling me. You love me. Come on, you're going to end up there anyway. Come on, that's the way Coke Zero talks to me. All right, Amanda. Today's tough question is.
Might want to go get that looked at.
Comes with a
Yeah.
rash.
Yeah, apparently awful. All right. So today's tough question is USC has stated that they have complied with the NCAA. They've done everything that they possibly can to make sure Bru is eligible, yada, yada, yada. Do you believe it?
Oh. All right. I like that. What are the answers?
I mean, it's pretty much a yes or no question.
Okay, ask the question one more time.
So I'm going to say, does the fault on the Bru McCoy situation lie with the USC,
Well, I actually
NCAA?
I like the first one you did because it was a matter of trust. You were just questioning their integrity to the core. We are talking.
Well, I mean, that's true.
Well, we are talking about a school that still has OJ's Heisman Trophy up, but
I know, but I feel like people could probably weigh in that the fault is, could be the NCAA, could be USC, could be, Tennessee, who knows?
I'm open. But when you ask the question, has USC done everything it possibly can to help Bru McCoy be eligible? Do you believe them? No, I don't believe them. And I'm not the
I don't either.
conspiracy theorist guy. And I'm pretty middle of the road, wouldn't you say, philosophically? I mean, I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy, is what I'm trying to tell you. So
No.
I don't throw that stuff out there left and right. But no, I think they waited to fill that paperwork out until later in the summer. And
maybe Monday morning.
Or maybe, well, yeah, I think the story broke Saturday, so maybe Friday. Yeah.
Possibly.
I don't
Okay.
pull that out at all. So I like that. I love that question. I don't like it. I love it.
Okay. All right. I'm putting it out there.
All right, here we go. All right. So we'll go ahead and throw it out there. If you want to give us your thoughts on the stream, feel free, but we'll have that on Twitter for today's tough question, which is a pretty darn good one. So I was a little bit taken aback. We were at an event on Sunday by Latrell Bumpus. And I do think I wanted to address this for a moment, how I do believe that, Amanda, the relationship between the media and the players will help college football and college athletics in the long term. Because there is a certain get to know you factor. There is and part of it's NIL and being in the community more instead of being sheltered away as if they, couldn't be seen or talked to. And it was like Rapunzel. And
Rapunzel.
That's a pretty good reference, huh?
Well, I mean, I don't know if any of them have hair that long, but if you were at Clemson,
maybe.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor
on that hair.
That's what you did.
Yep.
So, and you get a massage out of it at Clemson. But let's come back a little bit.
And Joe Burrow gets to be your daddy.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
I loved that. That was great.
Okay. So, the question that I ultimately have for anybody in media relations is, what is there to hide? I've always said that 95% of the guys are good dudes. I mean, you don't get to that point for the most part where you're semi-elite. Elite would be NFL, but this is semi-elite. When you're at a Power 5 school and you're starting, you're the top, 3% of football players in the world. You don't get to that point if you're just crazy wild man half the time. Now, there are some guys that are uber talented, don't get me wrong. that can be crazy and wild, and but I think football and sports have changed a lot where you have to be a little bit more dedicated. But anyway, I enjoy.
I don't think it's the crazy wild people. I mean, honestly, it's going to sound pretty rough, but out of all of the football players, there are a good bit of them are intelligent human beings. Some of them are not. Some of them it's a struggle. I mean, it's a struggle. So I don't necessarily blame coaches for not wanting to put some of their players out there, because you can't say, okay, you can go out there, you better not talk. Don't open your mouth. Don't say anything that we're doing. Like, don't talk to the media at all. You just keep it kind of, a general rule. Just players don't talk to the media, because then you don't have to worry about someone going, oh, yeah, you see dude over there limping? Yeah, he tore his ACL. Tell the other team. We're playing on Saturday. Tell the other team.
Okay, there's some truth to that. You have to have an awful lot of trust. Okay, so but the NIL thing has really forced the trust upon the coaches, because no longer do you have to go through sports information or somebody like that to set up an interview with somebody. You can go directly to the young man, and you can even pay him in some cases, as we like to do at Off the Hook Sports, because we think they deserve it. It's great content and they're worth it. So I think that whether or not the coaches like it, that you have seen relationships that are actually good for the individual teams. I've said this before. You don't want homers covering your program, because a homer will overreact to a loss and call you the worst coach in the history of man because it upset his day. Okay, that is not what you want. Now, you may get the occasional, he's the best coach ever sort of stuff, but for the most part, you don't want a homer. And I'm not saying that we or anybody else are homers because of NIL. What I am saying is that there's a relationship there. And by gosh, I think there are some media members out there that haven't cared enough about the person as a player, so to speak. So something we've always done, but perhaps it opens the opportunity up for others.
I mean, that's a fair statement. I think.
Have I sold you on NIL at all at this point?
I've never been against the NIL per se. I've been against or giving players money. I don't think that that's a bad thing. Giving them millions of dollars in college is not a great thing. I just feel like it's not going to pan out well. And maybe I'll be on the freezing cold takes and I'll be completely wrong. That's fine. I'm down with that. But giving them some amount of money is fine. Give them money. That's fine. Give them stuff to live on, to eat, to, outside of campus. If they want to buy a car, whatever. That's completely fine. Giving them $8 million, not okay. I will never think that that's okay.
Yeah, and the other potential out there, obviously you're referring to a prospect, is if you start that is still technically against rules, but if you start promising prospects money and they show up, what kind of return does said business get if the guy's a third stringer and can't play?
In the case of LSU, nothing. They get nothing.
Right, because he's already walked away. What was
quit.
His name again? Is
Brennan.
Yeah, Miles Brennan just
Miles
up and
Brennan.
said, I'm going to roll, but thanks for the NIL money. Well,
he can take it. He takes all of it.
Yeah, they got nothing out of that.
No, because you can't base it on performance. So he takes everything and plays not at one snap.
Best NIL spend ever that I saw. I think he plays for Nebraska. They couldn't use the school colors, so they had to be kind of careful, but I'm pretty sure I'm sure I could find it. But
is it the coldest?
It's the coldest.
Yes, it's a great. He should get a national, it should be a nationwide thing.
It should be train carried by the coldest. So the coldest is at Nebraska, and he is repping his name really is the coldest, DECLDEST. and he's repping a HVAC company.
Yeah.
So
He needs to rep like Coors Light when he turns 21. Anybody that can say the coldest beer,
this guy
anybody.
This guy could theoretically be the worst football player in the history of man, but he's going to have plenty of NIL opportunities and
The
maybe
best
more.
deal.
So, want to remind you, Craft Treats has the minor cannabinoids that increase the benefits of CBD. They're great for situational anxiety, things like storm anxiety, car ride anxiety. They have all of that. They also have the anti-inflammatory properties and pain reduction benefits. That is Craft Treats. And go to Craft Treats, and they can take care of you with that full spectrum CBD oil. It is awesome. That is right there in the treat. Takes care of Amanda's Ava. Takes care of my Thaddeus. Still struggling. It's hard to get up on that chair or get up on that bed or whatever the case may be. He just doesn't have the spring like he used to, Amanda. It's hurtful. It's painful to watch.
Well, Ava, I thought that she didn't have this spring and that I really messed up like her back leg to the point that I gave her Craft Treats. She seemed to be doing better, but we made a vet appointment for her to go. And then, nope, she's just mad. She just got mad. And so she started limping around so she could have attention. So she's completely fine now.
So this, by the way, just breaking. Dennis Rodman says he's going to Russia this week to help free Brittany Griner. I can't imagine that not working out well.
I don't know. I mean, he went to North Korea, so why not?
Did he accomplish anything other than seeing
he got out of North Korea.
Well, he got out. But that Kim Jong-un, is that his name?
Yes.
He's a huge Bulls fan, and he was a huge Rodman fan.
Yeah,
So-
but Rodman still did what a lot of people can do, and he got out of North Korea. So
That's true.
mission accomplished.
I don't know that I want Dennis Rodman trying to save me personally. But yeah, and also I want to take a look at, we touched base on this briefly, the Saturday Down South top players in the SEC and or college football. And I did want to touch base on that because I really think after about the first 3 or 4 that there's a pretty significant drop off. So we'll get to that as well. Stay tuned. More coming up, including Jacob Warren will share his thoughts on preseason camp. First, tell us about Big Orange Phillies, where we were on Sunday, Mr. Viles.
Gary Viles here. I want to personally invite you to North Knoxville's newest sports bar and restaurant. It's Big Orange Phillies, located in Black Oak Center. And yes, folks, it's happening in Halls. Big Orange Phillies offers family-friendly environment with homemade meals and the best deli-style subs around. Billiards, darts, jukebox, shuffleboard, and cornhole, and a full bar. We also offer valet parking on weekends and during special events. We even have a covered back patio. It's happening at Big Orange Phillies. We want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
This is Al's Dish Barbecue Supply, so come on in and see all the different rubs and sauces we have, plus a complete line of Green Mountain grills. Don't be overwhelmed. We have plenty of help so you can produce the best barbecue and amaze your family and friends. Barbecue is America's food. We'll do what we can to bring you all the best products. We're Al's Nest Barbecue, where Chattanooga goes to grill.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassy Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassy, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Bassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Bassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
Well, I don't know if he was in The Masked Singer. I don't really even know what The Masked Singer is, but Tom Brady has rejoined the Bucs, so all Bucs fans can celebrate. We don't know why he was gone for 11 days on a personal issue.
Doesn't matter.
No, he's going to come back and he's going to be fine. I mean, he's not going to. Oh, I've forgotten how to play football. I don't think
he doesn't need to practice. He's 45. Let the man just play. He doesn't need to practice. He's been doing this since he was 12. Just let him play.
There's probably a happy medium in there somewhere. I want to encourage you to like and subscribe. If you would subscribe, we would greatly appreciate it so we can bring you more content. And we're with you each and every weekday at 8:30 when we get it started with the Down and Dirty at 8:30. One thing I forgot to mention is Baker Mayfield has apparently been named the starter for week 1 for the Carolina Panthers. Boy, what a strange career Baker Mayfield has had when you think about it. To get replaced by who he got replaced with in the manner in which he was replaced with. I mean, he actually had success at Cleveland. I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback. He kind of had success. He was okay. Let's put it this way. If your choices are, okay, let me ask you this. Your choices are this. It's Baker Mayfield, who is a little bit cocky. The only time he's on in late January and February is some deodorant commercial because he doesn't go deep into the playoffs. Get it? So you have Baker Mayfield on one hand.
Not good enough to be on deodorant. He's on Progressive or something.
Okay.
He was.
Either way. So you have a guy, throws a little quirky sidearm, scrambles around a lot, is exciting. On the other hand, you have a guy that has been accused by 24 masseuses as being, however you say that, as being a guy who likes to, do things in masseuse environments that you shouldn't do. And you have to give him a guaranteed contract that you put in escrow. That's the largest guaranteed contract in the history of man. So you have that on one hand, or on the other hand, you can say, hey, you can just stick with Baker Mayfield and he's pretty good.
Why do you have to give him a guaranteed contract?
I'm going to answer it this way. I'm going to say somebody was going to, and I may be wrong, but because there's only, according to what I read, there were only about 10 to 12 teams that could do what Jimmy Haslam did at Cleveland because they have the money to put in an escrow account that ensures that you have the money to pay him if you were to go bust the next day. Was it Donald Sterling with the NBA? They got kicked out. Well, the money had to be there for him to pay all the players so that it couldn't get nefarious. So I was told I read there was about 12 people, about 12 teams. Cowboys would be one, you would think. Teams that would never do it, like the Steelers, could pull it off. But yeah, I mean, they hate everything about that contract. And maybe there wasn't anybody else that was going to do it. Maybe he just said, listen, I think he's his mid-70s. Maybe he said, this is my greatest shot to win a Super Bowl. I don't know. But which would you rather have, the headache or Baker Mayfield?
Okay. So
Watson's a better quarterback.
If you're giving me an option and you know how I do, how I stand on the Watson thing, you know which way I stand on that. I'm taking Watson. I think that the Browns made a good move in getting rid of Baker Mayfield. According to a lot of sources, Baker Mayfield was awful in the locker room.
Oh,
awful.
I don't doubt that.
He is cocky. And he's not that great. He's not even that good. He's one of those players that was the whole walk-on transfer in thing that got in there and did something in 1 year. I mean, Kyler Murray was the same way. Joe Burrow was the same way in college, and everyone flocked to him. When Baker Mayfield grabbed his junk at another student fan base, I was just like, you're an idiot. That's my problem with Baker is the same thing I had with Johnny Manziel. It's the same thing I had with Jameis Winston. My problem is that there's no discipline there. The mental capacity is not there for football, not intelligence-wise, but the discipline part. There's too much emotion, and it runs rampant, and it runs them. So that's the problem. You can't coach arrogance. You just can't. You can't coach it. It's there. It's there.
Uncoach it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. No, you can't coach someone who is arrogant. Like you can't coach an arrogant person because they always believe that they are in the right, and they always believe that they're doing, they're number one. Baker Mayfield's no exception to that. I would not coach him. No, I would take Deshaun Watson.
I would avoid the headache, and maybe I'm taking the easy way out. I would avoid the headache and go with Baker Mayfield. And
you're not avoiding the headache then.
You mean I want to keep a headache with Baker Mayfield? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Right. And I've read some things by him that are encouraging for Carolina because he does seem more humble, but maybe that happened because he was replaced at Cleveland, and it would have never happened at Cleveland. I don't know.
Exactly.
Great place to watch him play would be Big Orange Phillies. Big Orange Phillies has all that you need in terms of a family-friendly, fun sports bar. That's Big Orange Phillies. They've got darts, billiards, live entertainment, karaoke, and they're in the heart of Halls, close to Maynardville Pike or on Maynardville Pike, close to Maynardville and close to North Knoxville. So get out there and check them out. You may even see John Adams from time to time. I heard he made an appearance there, and you'll definitely see me and Amanda LaFratta. So Dennis Rodman, how does that conversation start with Russia? That he goes to Russia and said, I need some justice. And I need to get, I'm just trying to figure out how this whole thing, how Dennis Rodman can actually help.
Do you think he's actually going to do that? Or do you think this is just a ploy to get into the limelight once again?
Great question.
Because I don't think Putin's going to let him open there.
No, I don't think he's going to care what Dennis Rodman has to say. But we're talking about Brittany Griner, who that's what they're trying to get Brittany Griner back. I told you this was going to drag on a long time. And when I say drag on, I mean she just does not have, I'm sorry, it's nothing against female athletes, nothing against her persuasion or anything, but she doesn't have the type of appeal that, say, a Tom Brady would, where if he found himself in this predicament, I guarantee you, whoever the president is, I'm not going to go political, would find a way to get him back.
But I'm going political on this.
Political.
I'm going political. I believe that no one respects the administration that we have, and I don't think that they see any way that we're going to cause any trouble for them if they don't give back a citizen. What does it matter? There's empty threats up there. We're falling off bicycles here.
Yeah, if that's the case, then she's going to be there. Well, then if that's the case, then she's going to be there for a long time, which would mean a presidential change. So
she won't, because they will strong arm this administration and get the person that they want back to exchange so that are the people in the White House save face. They'll get who they want. Smart move by Russia.
John saying Dixon seems to have been dismissed from the team. I don't know if it was dismissed or not, but it certainly was very quick and felt somewhat like that. Talk about falling off a bike. What do you mean falling off a bike? What are you referring to?
You didn't see Joe Biden fall off a bike?
Oh, no. Well, he wouldn't have fallen off a Pedigo bike. Pedigo Chattanooga is a locally owned store where you'll be treated like family. As the region's foremost electric bike experts, they put their hearts into helping you find the perfect electric bike and get the most out of it for many years to come. That's Pedigo Chattanooga. Again, Pedigo Chattanooga. They bring you this conversation with Latrell Bumpus that we had at Big Orange Phillies. So here is Tennessee's defensive lineman that I think this group's going to be pretty good this year when you start factoring in all of the guys up front and the edge rushers. We'll talk more about that. But here is Latrell Bumpus on Off the Hook Sports. All right, as we broadcast live from Big Orange, Phillies, joined now by a very special guest. It is Latrell Bumpus. And Latrell, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm well. You don't have to stare completely at that thing. I know it's probably got you a little bit nervous, but just in terms of the season, you got to be excited, man. There's an awful lot of optimism around this program.
Yeah, man. I think we're all excited. You know, we're expecting to win. We come in every game expecting to win every game. You know, there's a lot of hype around us, around the town and stuff. And, you know, we just got to stay humble, you know, keep doing what we're supposed to be doing on and off the field. And I think the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, it seems like that is happening now. And as you come into the final days of camp, can you talk about how you feel physically? Because I know it can wear on you, I'm sure.
Yeah, overall, I feel pretty good, and I think as a team, we're in a good spot too. You know, you always gonna have your little beats and bangs every now and then, but I think we're doing a good job as a team. You know, keeping our bodies in the best shape possible, and we have a good training staff too, and even nutrition staff, because that plays a big part in keeping your body up to date. And we've been staying pretty consistent on that, and I think that's helped us along the way.
What does being a vertical defense mean? I've heard coaches use that term.
You know, we play 2 yards on the other side of the line of scrimmage, so we live off making TFL, negative plays, with sacks, forcing turnovers.
So as far as forcing turnovers, it's probably a little bit more difficult in practice with 4 starters returning on the offensive line. What's practice been like going against those guys?
It's been great. It's been a lot of great competition. Like you said, there's the vets up front. So as a D-line, we're getting the best look every time. And we got even good backups too as well. So that helps us along the line too. So I think when, we get ready to play these teams, there won't be any surprises. We'll already be ready because the competition that we're facing during practice, it'll be the same, if not better, than what we'll be facing in the game.
I was pulling a little bit of numbers. Y'all had 34 sacks last year, which was roughly like 8th in the SEC.
Yes, sir.
But just like 6 more, it wasn't a lot, but just like 5 or 6 more, and you guys would have been top 3 in the SEC. Do you feel like you were maybe a lot closer to being a dominant defense than numbers might indicate?
Yeah, I think at times, and then at times, we can be better at third down, getting the teams in third down in long situations. I think a lot of times we'll get teams in the third and short, where that's easier for them to manage. So it don't really allow them opportunities to get the sacks and things like that. So they'll just be running the ball. But now I think that we had a big emphasis this spring on being better on third down, even on second down, getting teams to third and long, so that we have an opportunity to rush the quarterback and get those sacks.
Yeah, and one of the things I know that's frustrating when you have visiting with Latrell Bumpus here, when you have a quarterback that breaks free, like on a third and medium or somewhere in there, that's got to be the most frustrating feeling to see him scramble for a first down.
Yeah, it is. I think we've learned from them moments, and we just know that if everybody gets in there and do their job, the plays that Coach Banks has dialed up for us, they'll be in great shape, put us in position so that we can make those plays and, get those things corrected. Where what things hurt us last year, we try to get it corrected this offseason where we don't have to work to get it corrected during the season.
Pass lane emphasis and discipline, though, is not nearly as much fun to talk about as just rushing the passer, is it?
Yes, sir. No, it ain't, because a lot of times, your eyes can get big. If your eyes in the wrong place, you can mess up and mess those rush lanes up. And all it takes is just one person messing up those rush lanes, and that could be a big play.
Latrell, give me – and we work with at Off the Hook Sports. We work with Jacob, who Jacob Warren and Cooper Mace. I always like to ask them, who are some shout-outs you would give? Who stepped it up in practice? You've been around a while. You know what it's like this time of year. It's tough. It's a mental challenge. Who are some of the guys that are answering the bell right now?
I think B.Y., Byron Young, Trey Flowers, Jalen McCullen. We have numerous guys. I'm also just speaking on the defensive side of the ball. I don't get to see the offense as much. But I think we had numerous guys stepping up, taking on leadership roles. That was a thing that we worked very hard on this spring. which last year we had a few guys that was pretty key leaders on the team. So we knew that we had to, step up and, even go even harder now and lead and bring the young guys along, because we know that it's important to get those young guys coming, because we can't do everything by ourselves. So the more help we can get, the better off the team's going to be.
So many people ask me all the time, what's the latest with Bru McCoy?
Mm-hmm.
Do you get that question a lot? I mean, I know that's kind of outside of your normal wheelhouse of what you do, but do you get that a lot?
Me personally, I haven't gotten it. I just sit on the internet a lot. And, honestly, me personally, I didn't know that he wasn't eligible until like a couple weeks ago when I started seeing on the internet. So hopefully, they can get that cleared up. He can help us.
Yeah, I think you will. So what do you think of the offense this year? What have you seen out of it? And in particular, I want to ask you about, obviously this offense can be quick strike, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no question about that. But can they hold on to the ball when they need to give you guys a break?
Yes, sir, they can. I've seen that in practice where a lot of times there might be periods where we'll slow it down, work on clock management and those things. And I think they've been a bigger emphasis, than it has been in the past. So I think that the offense can, go however they need to go, help us on the defensive side of the ball too.
How much different is that from last year when you're just trying to get everything installed?
Mm-hmm. It's easier now because, you got guys in there that's already been through the system, and they're now able to teach the younger guys. So that helps speed up the process with them as well. And so when you install new things, a lot of time the play might be just a little bit different, but for the most part, a lot of time you're doing the same thing. So if you're able to group those plays up and together, it makes it a lot easier.
Good stuff. Latrell Bumpus. We certainly appreciate it. People. So there you go.
Oh, there we are.
Yep, there we are.
Bye.
So John had another question. People want to hear about Bru McCoy, so I'm going to get to that. But I had a question about Lynn J. And yes, he is. Has he been dismissed from the team? I'm not sure that this wasn't a mutual parting of ways. There was reportedly an altercation that may have led to this. It was first reported by Austin Price of VolQuest.com.
Ooh, what kind of altercation?
With a potential other coach.
Ooh, he went after a coach?
Well, I don't know. But
sorry, that's just exciting times.
And let me be real clear. So I want to make sure I get everybody squared away here. So Austin Price reported that he's no longer with the football team, entering after transferring from West Virginia. So, of course, needing him with Lynette Whitehead being injured. So now Tennessee will lean on Jabari Small, Jalen Wright. So there's no notice or no note from Austin of whether or not there was an altercation. Now, if you go to some other places, there might have been an altercation. So I guess to answer your question, John, is I haven't seen any strong reporting that was an altercation, but I'm not going to completely rule it out. Tiger 6, thank you. I appreciate that. So I'm not going to rule that out, Amanda, that it happened. As a matter of fact, it would make a lot of sense, but I don't know what you've seen. You're better on the Google than I am, but I haven't seen it reported by anybody that I would take to the grave, so to speak.
On the Google.
On the Google.
On the Google. I have not seen anything about him getting into like a fight. I've seen.
Well, and an altercation could be bleep you. I mean, it doesn't have to be physical.
I mean, if you call that an altercation, that's to me, an altercation should be a physical thing, or at least it should get to the point where people have to separate you or something. Maybe you get into like each other's faces. So there has to be some physical contact of some sort, or an attempt at physical contact. I could be on the phone with you and say, F you, Dave. And then that doesn't mean we had an altercation.
Yeah, that could have happened yesterday. Sam
that
said,
was Sunday.
Sam said, has Bru McCoy been harmed if he misses a game? In this case, would he not have grounds for a lawsuit? I think you start getting into that. I mean, so if he comes back, well, the bottom line is, Sam, I would answer it this way. If he is suspended for the first 3 games of the season because he's not eligible, suspended isn't the right word. If he's not eligible for the first 3 games of the season and he still comes out at his 6'4", 207, 8-pound self and performs well in college and performs well at the combine, then he's going to be a high pick. So I don't know how you would tangibly say that missing the Ball State or Akron game would cost him money. I don't know how you could tangibly say that.
You could in NIL deals.
You
could say that.
You can sue anybody for anything. I mean, I could sue you for being too awesome. I mean, that you could sue anybody for anything, but it doesn't mean that you're going to win. So,
well, I mean, if he would win against, and then that would be a really telling thing because Discovery would have to come out to prove that the NCAA didn't do that or USC didn't do that. And I would be very interested to see if USC didn't, if they had the Discovery to say, we signed the stuff, promise. And in reality, they didn't. But
okay, well, can I stop you for 1 second?
Okay.
The fact that they're a private university, I know that I can find any email or anything sent at UT because it's a public university. But the fact that I'm just asking, I don't know. Southern California is a private university. Do you have the same flexibility? Like, technically, we don't know what the Vanderbilt football coach makes. I mean, it's reported and we work off that number, but 110%, no, we don't know.
Well, you have the same flexibility and according to the law, if there's Discovery evidence, if he was to sue for NIL money that he lost because he didn't get to play or start or whatever.
Okay.
USC would have to present the fact that they signed those letters. They would have to present those documents in Discovery if it was against USC.
Right. So you're talking about getting a what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody has a
subpoena.
Okay, so you're talking about. I'm looking at it from the media perspective, where I wouldn't have the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, on my side. So you're looking at it from the legal perspective of if he was sued, then it wouldn't matter if they're public or private. Okay,
exactly.
I got you.
Now I don't know FOIA. I don't know if a private university is under the same rules, restrictions. I would assume not if it's a private entity.
I think they would probably be a little bit more difficult, but at the end of the day, I mean, does Southern California, the university, really care as a whole? Not the football department, because there are colleges at these places we talk about, by the way. Do they really care if Bru McCoy is eligible? I mean, they
don't care.
Yeah, if it got to that point, they just say, all right, be done with it, which maybe is what happened last week.
I don't know, but I know they don't care, but what they will care about is their reputation, especially when it comes to recruiting, because especially now with the NIL the way that it is, with the transfer portal the way that it is, if they were to look terrible in this situation, if it comes out that they didn't do what they were supposed to do, then that would kill their recruiting, because it would seem like, okay, well, if you go to USC and they don't like you very much and you try to transfer out, they will prevent you from playing. I mean, that it looks like.
Why does that not carry?
Being honest.
Why does that not carry the same weight it used to? It used to carry a lot of weight. Like, for instance, pooling scholarships. Like, if a kid, you gave him a scholarship in June before his senior year, and then he thought, hey, I got it made, I'm going to gain 50 pounds and be lazy and not any good, you still really couldn't pull his scholarship because you'd have to go back in that high school. So you're kind of talking about this, in some ways, the same thing, and that is limiting a player's flexibility and movement. Does that hurt you the way, because you're right, it used to be a cardinal sin. Like, you would never step foot in that high school until the head coach changed ever again. I don't know why, but it doesn't seem like people hold those grudges, which in some cases were good grudges.
No, I think they do hold those grudges. I think it would kill USC if it comes out that they prevented him from playing at a different university, that they didn't sign the necessary documents. It would kill them recruiting wise. It would kill them because no player is going to say, okay, well, you know what, I'm going to go to USC now, and now you always want to have your options open. You go to USC and then you can't play anywhere else because they won't refuse to sign the documents to let you go.
Gosh, man. Listen, I like Lincoln Riley as a coach. If we were on Mars and you said you got to take the 5 best college football coaches with you, he might be on that list. But
why?
He might. But
why though?
Okay, but point being, I think the Southern Cal thing is going to be a complete fiasco disaster. Given what you said, given the travel, this is a school that has the same sort of reputation as Vanderbilt, wanting to pull off big boy football stuff like Alabama. I mean, Alabama has a lot of the preseason great matchups, early season matchups, and they did that, and they were always ahead of the curve in that. That's essentially what Southern Cal is trying to do. But I wonder, at some point, does the institution, the school, say, why are our gymnasts flying 4 time zones away to play Rutgers? This doesn't make any. I think the whole thing's going to blow up, and in 5 years from now, we'll say, wow, that was a big disaster. I could be wrong.
I mean, I see that happening. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be on because of gymnasts. I think it will probably hurt their football program more than it's going to help them.
Stat blame gymnasts.
Those lacrosse players are just awful.
The mattress place, the crew, the mattress place, 22 years.
You have to row there.
Yes. 22 years on Chapman Highway, Marine Corps veteran owned. You'll love Steve, A+ accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, over 225 5-star reviews on Google. He's awesome. No gimmicks, just 30 to 70% off each and every day. So we'll talk some more Bru after this. He seems to be the strange Bru that.
No, stop it. And he needs to get a deal with like an NIL deal with a coffee place. Just saying.
We know a coffee place. Honeybee Coffee, top 5% of the beans in the world. Honeybee Coffee right there locally, but you can shop online. So go to Honeybee.
Brewing with Bru.
Brewing with. Oh, I think she's on to something. I wonder if he's a coffee guy. Sam saying, I think the Tennessee fan base needs to tag every USC coach with this message and see how USC likes it.
With what?
I thought we would just share the sports information number for USC after this.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe that's just me.
It's Gary Viles here, Viles Automotive on Callahan Drive. I've been selling cars here in East Tennessee for 27 years. In that time, I've come to realize it's not about the car. It's about you, the customer. So I'm here to take care of you just like family. Good credit, bad credit, you name it, we can get you taken care of. If we don't have it, we can find it for you. We go across the country to get any vehicle that you want. And here at Viles Automotive, we don't believe in fake numbers. We just give you great deals. And as always, we want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassy Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassy, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassy's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassy Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
This is Steve Rain. I own the Midnight Oil and Michelin Tire Direct service station here in Ottawa. It's not a fancy place, never has been, but it's a clean place with clean restrooms and good folks who work here. We sell gas and fix cars, nothing glamorous, but we love what we do, and we're going to keep doing it for a long time to come. There's not many real service stations left, and that's a shame. We're the guys just like the guys back in your hometown. We'll fix your tire, change your oil, and put a new set of Michelins on your car. If you want a Twinkie, you'll just have to keep on going. Thanks for the business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
So the Amanda LaFratta, I'm Dave Hooker, and I can't help but I enjoy reading some of the comments that are out there. So I think you want a free brew. I think that's the goal. I think that's what.
Stop with that crap.
Not you, Tennessee fans.
No, but it's like he's in jail. Like he's not in. I mean, I guess he's in college football jail, but it's like he's not facing like a death penalty here. Like calm down.
Yeah, that's fair. We'll visit with Cooper Mays tomorrow, Tennessee Center, and we have a major announcement coming up that we're looking forward to about a new regular guest on the show. Cooper will join us thanks to City Heating and Air Conditioning at cityheatandair.com. It's about integrity. City Heating and Air Conditioning has provided East Tennesseans with honest, dependable heating and cooling services for over 50 years. That's cityheatandair.com. So John's saying that would be Save Brew then. Are you I think the Twitter's already taken over on the free Bru McCoy. I don't know that we can change the motion of that wave. I think that's moving forward. I don't know that we can up and come up with another hashtag that's going to replace it. But how about Save Brew? You don't like
I think we should just hashtag Let Brew Play.
Let Brew Play. Okay.
Let Brew Play.
Kind of like the kids back in the day. All right. When they said
kids back in the day.
Oh my gosh. Do you not even know what you're referencing?
I'm not referencing anything. I'm just saying let Brew Play. That's what we all want.
Bad News Bears 2, late 70s, Astrodome.
I was not around in the 70s.
It's very hurtful, Amanda. And the fans chant, let them play, let them play. And that's what you're not remembering. It's very hurtful. I thought that's what you were referencing. All right.
I am in no way responsible for stuff that happened before I was born.
It's fair. Message board bingo coming up this day in sports history, and more Bru McCoy. As information becomes available, we will pass it along to you. I would not expect to hear anything in the immediate future, but I think it's reasonable to think that Tennessee will hear something by the end of the week. So that is what I've been told. So I think it's reasonable to think today's the 23rd. You'd be looking at 24, 25, 26. You'd be looking around the end of the week, 26, 27. Whether I've been told that before with guys who are trying to get their eligibility, and it hasn't held true. So I've been kind of hesitant to even say anything, but that's just what I'm hearing is a possible timetable. So how old is Bru at Tennessee? A brew is not coffee. Yes, Sam, but we're trying to keep him out of trouble with the NIL. So we don't want to get him.
Brew is not coffee.
Yes.
But that is a good play on words.
It is a very good play on words, and the official craft beer of Off the Hook Sports is Zool, XUL, Zool Beer Company. Panoramic view downtown, great place to hang out, but worldwide award-winning beer as well. That's Zool Beer Company. Go to ZoolBeerCompany.com. So something, Amanda, that we had just a very brief second to touch base on that I wanted to get your thoughts. And it was a piece done by our friends at Saturday Down South. And it was the counting down the top 100 college football players. Now, I'm always open and honest with everybody. I tell everybody that I have an SEC bias because I think the football is significantly better. I think you would probably be along the same lines, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. But as a whole, the the SEC is by far the dominant conference now. So I tend to lean towards those guys that have success in the SEC, I believe would have success absolutely anywhere. So a couple of things. Will Anderson, edge rusher out of Alabama, was number 1. That's not a great surprise. Bryce Young out of Alabama was number 2. And then at 4, you go CJ Stroud of Ohio State. You get to the Ohio State receiver, Smith. I'm not even going to try the last name, Jackson Smith. He is number 4. And then you get to Brian Robinson, the running back of Texas. I know these lists are to make us talk, but I'm sorry, there are 10 people better in the SEC than the running back out of Texas.
So the guy that wrote this list, I looked him up, and he is a Mississippi native. I'm wondering if he might be a fan of Ole Miss. I'm just saying.
I don't know that.
I know he's a Mississippi native, so he may be a fan of Ole Miss. And if you're a fan of Ole Miss, never dismiss I know that was terrible, but never dismiss the fandom when it comes to people who write sports. Like, never dismiss that. There's always going to be a hint of throwing some shade on some people if they're your rival. Now, I don't know if he's an Ole Miss fan, but it did make me wonder. I saw that he was a Mississippi native. It did make me wonder, are you an Ole Miss fan? Because the lack of Tennessee players on this list is laughable. Like, it's laughable. How can you not? At the very least, Cedric Tillman. At the very least, Cedric Tillman. And he should be up there. How can you not have him in the top 100?
So are you saying there could be an Ole Miss bias related to Lane Kiffin? Is that what you're saying? The bias?
Well, the bias would be, I mean, it could be Lane Kiffin, but also Tennessee did just throw mustard bottles and golf balls at the Ole Miss team last season. So there could be some, like, my favorite term, butthurt, going on there from a writer who could possibly be.
Well, they weren't injured though.
Doesn't matter. It's just, they probably feel disrespected, and they probably hate Tennessee fans because they catch so much flack from Tennessee fans because of Lane Kiffin.
Okay, so maybe that is the case. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. So do you want to guess who the highest rated Tennessee player on this list is?
I didn't see one.
You didn't see one at all?
No, there's not one on there.
Scroll again. I'm scrolling too. There has to be one Tennessee player.
No, there's not. There's not
not
one
a
player.
single Tennessee player on
Not one single player. I went through the whole thing.
Well, that's pretty ludicrous.
There's a reason for that, and it's not because Tennessee doesn't have any good players, and it's not because they just forgot about Tennessee. There's a reason that there are no Tennessee players on that list. And when you look at it from that perspective, you can clearly see that it's probably a bias against Tennessee. And I know I sound like a homer. I'm not a homer, clearly. But I can look at it from, a non-emotional perspective here and see that this is ridiculous. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. This makes no sense whatsoever. Like, you should be your sports writing card should be pulled at this point because you put some kind of emotional something in this list, and there's no reason for that.
I mean, it's hard for me to even justify in my mind how you could be preseason All-SEC number 2 at quarterback, the most important position on the field. So if you just wanted to take the Power 5 conferences, wouldn't that by definition almost mean that you are one of the top, say, Power 5 conferences? Let's say 2 preseason per conference. Wouldn't that by definition almost say that you're in the top 10?
Yeah, because you have, 2 people per conference. That's 10 people that are quarterbacks, all SEC, preseason all SEC first team, all SEC second team. So that's 10 people.
Well, and I realize that all the quarterbacks aren't going to be that good, but it should at least put you in the running for being in the top 25 to be preseason All SEC number 2.
Yeah, because you're not going to pick like 3 offensive linemen. I mean, you have offensive linemen that are preseason, All SEC or All Big Ten or whatever it is. But that's not going to be you're not going to have all these offensive linemen down this top 100 list because that's not quarterback offensive linemen. And you have Spencer Rattler on here, and no offense, I'm sure he's going to be good. I'm sure he's whatever, but he's not proven at all. How do you have Spencer Rattler on here and you don't have Hendon Hooker? I mean, Hendon Hooker for just as a quarterback. Cedric Tillman should be higher than that. That makes 0 cents. Zero. Jabari Small's not on there. 0 cents. This is a bias. And that is out there. 100% a bias.
My bias is Vassy Lawn and Garden. Vassy Lawn and Garden, man alive, it's worth the drive. They bring you Jacob Warren, the Vol Report. You can hear it in its entirety on our YouTube channel or on offthehooksports.com. I talked to Jacob about getting through this hard part of camp, the fact that protecting the quarterback is so important, and it's brought to you by Vassy Lawn and Garden. Could take a, I want to say quantum leap. I don't want to put too much pressure on you, but it seems like it could take a significant leap from year 1 to year 2 just based off knowledge.
Yeah, so what you mentioned at the beginning, kind of the coaches understanding us and us understanding the coaches, is now we've gotten to the point where, say we're running a situation or something, call it 2-minute, or we're running 3rd down situations or 3rd and short, whatever. I kind of begin to think about, what Coach Golich, what Coach Heupel is thinking about, what plays might I anticipate that they're going to call and what reasons where they're going to call it. You know what I mean? So instead of just knowing that we run this play or they called that play and I'm going to run it, understanding as to why they're calling it, right? They see safety rotation or they've been seeing something in the defense for the past 2 drives, and we talked about it on the sidelines, and now it's time to go out there and actually make the adjustment and go capitalize on it, right? And so I think that's the biggest thing, that going into this next season is being able to have that firm understanding of the playbook and then being able to make adjustments and everyone being on the same page, rather than kind of being limited to just the cookie cutter, like this is the book, this is what the book says, run this route this way, you know what I mean? Because they get into before, but now you're able to say, okay, on this route, if the defender does this, I'm going to stop. I'm going to kind of settle, or I'm going to feel space in a zone, or things like that the quarterback and the receivers need reps on, need time, need a whole spring and a whole fall to really get under their belt. And now we have 2. So, right. So it's exciting to kind of just think about the opportunities in that way.
Yeah. And I think this offense continues to grow. And I think the grasp continues to grow. It's, we can say that Hendon Hooker is going to get the ball out quicker. We can say Cedric Tillman and all these guys are athletic, but I think the thing that sometimes we forget about, Amanda, is that year 2 in any offense, you're almost always going to be better, barring significant losses, and Tennessee doesn't have that. So I don't know if it's a quantum leap, but Tennessee should be much better than they were last year, and last year they were really darn good.
And I know I have a little bit of a bias with Roman Harper. I love Roman Harper. But even watching him on the SEC network, he has Tennessee going 10-2 and upsetting Georgia. And I don't see that as any big stretch. I understand that people think Georgia is good and yada, yada, yada. Completely rebuilding a defense is not an easy task. I know Nick Saban makes it look easy. It's not. It's a terribly difficult task. And even look at, people that have been on the top and just plummeted. You have LSU that 1 year, and I know Orgeron is anyway. They had that one fantastic year, and then the next season just Clemson did the same thing. It's not easy to completely rebuild one side of the ball. It's not.
No, it's not. I think some people think that Tennessee might be trying to do that on the defensive side. I really don't. I think that Tennessee has some depth there and has some talent. I think Tennessee's defense was also like, good gracious, why are you guys running so many plays on offense? I mean, I think there was a year of adapting to that. So I don't think it's a total rebuild. Do I think Tennessee is going to turn into one of the most dominant defenses in the nation? Absolutely not. But I do think that Tennessee, if they're a C+, Amanda, you and I've talked about this, if they're a C+ on defense, then they're probably an A team for this year, because that's all they need is a little boost, a couple of stops, a couple of scrambling quarterbacks on third and long away. So this breaking Tennessee, I'm sorry, go ahead, Amanda. Go ahead.
You can give up 500 yards a game. Don't look at that stat, because you're going to give up a lot of yards. Every defense is going to, especially with the offenses that we run now. The thing you have to do, give up 90 yards, but keep them out of the end zone. Make them kick field goals. There's a difference between 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns, and 3 possessions, 3 field goals. 21, 9 points. 21 points, 9 points. Like, there's a huge difference. Give up the big yards. You're going to. Just keep them out of the end zone. That's all you have to do.
Well, you're exactly right. All of that would have sounded insanely crazy 20 years ago. But with the way the rules have changed to help the offense, you're right. You stand a better chance with offensive linemen being able to release in RPO schemes down the field. You stand a better chance of being able to defend against a quick pass game if you're on your own end where there are 11 defenders in a much smaller space. So the bend but don't break thing sounded like blasphemy, well, even 10 years ago. But with the way the rules have changed, it's not a bad way to go. You get a couple of those stops, you're probably winning the football game. So this is reported now. Tennessee redshirt sophomore linebacker William Mohan has been suspended indefinitely by head coach Josh Heupel after getting arrested on Sunday. That reported by VolQuest. Mohan was arrested Sunday on a warrant after officers responded to a domestic disturbance. KPD officers spoke to the victim, who told police she had interviewed Mohan over, but she realized she had invited Mohan over, but she realized he was drunk when arrived. She told officers she rushed him to her room so her roommates would not wake up. Mohan reportedly began to initiate relations with the victim. When she said no, he reportedly began calling her derogatory terms. So I don't know what happened, but this could be something that Tennessee just doesn't want to deal with, but they're going to have to. Mohan became angry and used one hand to grab her face and the other to choke the victim. The report stated the victim told police that Mohan reportedly choked the victim by grabbing her and pulling her towards him. So I apologize. There are some typos in here that aren't of our doing. But this is one. And he transferred from Michigan. This is the first I've heard his name in preseason camp.
Ooh, that's rough.
That's a lot. Yeah. So if you have to make a break, if you think what she's saying holds any water, I know the first thing, what do we start to think about is the A.J. Johnson situation, because Tennessee fans have been through that. But this is
Bru McCoy.
Yeah. Well, this in particular, though, is kind of, no, you're right with Bruce. So this is a guy that you could cut and move on your merry way if you don't believe him. I don't know. This really comes down to the one conversation. People ask me, what do you think it'll do with such and such? It usually, Amanda, comes down to one conversation. It's the sit in the coach's office, and you have one opportunity to tell him the truth. And that's not a good time to lie. If you lie there, I can pretty much assure you that you're done. But if you tell the truth, even if it's bad, you might have an opportunity to hang on. Now, I'm not saying, for a felony or anything, don't get me wrong, but your chances are better. So that conversation has probably already happened. He is not off the team at this point. I'm sure there's some more fact finding going on, but
can't dismiss him right off the bat.
No.
I mean, there has to be some kind of, no matter what people are accused of, there has to be some kind of like judicial process in order to determine what's real and what's not, because we've seen many people lie, girls lie. You've seen that. You've also seen the other side where people have done horrible things, like Zach Stacy. That was on video. I don't know if you remember, he was a running back in the NFL. He threw his girlfriend, wife, whatever, against their baby's play toy. There's a whole video on it out there. So those things do happen. But in a situation like this, you have to wait for all the facts and not the emotional facts. Not the, oh my gosh, can't believe he did that facts. You have to wait for due process to happen in this case.
The one thing I do want to avoid, and I think that our listeners and viewers are intelligent enough to get this, is I want to avoid the, oh, well, she invited him over. What did she expect? I hate that whole line of thinking. I absolutely despise it, because she didn't expect to get choked. Potentially, allegedly. So let's just not even go down that road. So, but that's where you are again, indefinitely suspended. We'll see what ends up happening. And, but is it a big loss for Tennessee in terms of just the roster and the opener that is 9 days away?
Doesn't seem like it.
Not really.
No.
It's not. I hate to be hardcore about it, but that's a simple fact. All right.
No,
so
that's true. That's true. The Bru McCoy thing is much bigger, a much bigger issue for football, on the field, football activities.
Agreed.
That's a much bigger issue.
No, agreed. And all right, so it is time for, it is my favorite time to take a beating, other than the one that my son doled out on me yesterday in the new Madden, which, by the way, cheats against me. I don't know why, but it cheats against me. The actual game is against me. So that's frustrating, but I've managed,
right, Baker.
But I've managed to move forward, and it is time for message board bingo as we get to that now. Amanda, will read out the post on a message board. Can I tell you which message board it was posted on? If you can post on our message feed and beat me, then I'll hook you up with a Hooker t-shirt. All right, how about that? So message board bingo is now. So excited.
I'm thrilled. All right, so I heard we are going a day later than Nebraska. Why would we put ourselves at a jet lag disadvantage? I only say this because it's to the point of the Big Ten. Obviously it's the Big Ten, but it's to the point of what we've been saying is it's jet lag. It's not good, but it's. It just goes along with that theme, and it's not even, the Big Ten hasn't even, UCLA and USC aren't even there yet, but still.
Okay. I'm going to go with Oklahoma.
They're not in the Big Ten.
Oh, I didn't know they had to be in the Big Ten.
I just said it's the Big Ten.
Oh, okay. All right, then I'm going to go with Ohio State.
No, it's Northwestern.
0-1. Bunch of eggheads.
That's fine. I just did that one. You don't even have to, that doesn't even have to count. But okay. So I know I will likely get completely and utterly bashed. And before I post this, let me say I do enjoy the 2001 entrance, but I also think it's time for a change. I think that they could take that song and start off the entrance with the start of 2001 and mix it into Alice in Chains' Rooster.
I know this.
Rooster is literally, well, I'm not done. Rooster is literally about a man nicknamed Rooster who went crazy during war and they couldn't kill him no matter how hard they tried. I'm ready for the downvotes on here, but I was curious how many others would actually like to see a change.
Well, that's definitely South Carolina.
Yeah.
I did not know that about the Alice in Chains song Rooster.
I didn't either.
My greatest memory from that song, and for those that don't believe me, you can go back and look at it, that the third string quarterback for Florida State, whose name suddenly escapes me in the national championship game, help me out there, posters, but who Tennessee was playing, he had red hair, so they called him the Rooster. And they would play the Alice in Chains song with like this slow-mo fade in of him kind of turning towards the camera. Yeah, here comes the
Okay,
Rooster.
stop it. Nope,
And
nope.
I think he completed 6 of 24 passes for like 82 yards. He was horrible. Chris Winkie was
82 yards. That's 6 passes. I mean, that's pretty good average.
Well, it is a good average, I guess. But he was horrible. He was the third stringer behind Chris Winkie and behind, I think they were going to play Anquan Bolton instead. But he got hurt or somebody got. But anyway, they were down to the third string wide receiver. And it's like, people, do you think Tennessee's going to win the national championship game? Yes, they're on their third string quarterback. Okay, sorry.
No, we're playing a Rooster here, so.
And a Rooster.
All right.
Got sidetracked.
We're going to need to pick wisely. First, I would like to see us send a message to the SEC and tear down the goalpost after winning a road game. We're going to need to pick wisely. I say BYU. Mormons are probably least likely to try to beat us up for it. We're the away team versus A&M, and I'm pretty sure Jerry will help us tear those down. Just worried about the yell leaders' reactions. Think of the children. Maybe Missouri because, well, they're Missouri.
Somebody wants the Big Ten wants. I'm going to go with Michigan State. Michigan State.
No, this is Arkansas.
Arkansas.
Michigan State doesn't play BYU.
Well, that one was too hard.
I gave you the Rooster.
I did. Well, yeah, and the South Carolina one was incredibly easy.
That's the Rooster. That's the same one. All right, so
we have another one on tap. By the way, Google email, put your real name in there so we can talk to you. Asking, is it fair to say fans and coaches are underestimating Jay Wright? I think the fans, because he's been hurt. I think the coaches want to see him 100%, and that might not be till the opener. So I think there's some uncertainty there, but. Overlooked in our conversations from day to day? Probably. How about that?
Do you want another easy one?
Well, the eyes say yes, but the music bed says hell yes.
Yeah, it does. Okay, not really a fair comparison. Whomever is at NU, Nebraska, is going to struggle. They have fallen to a depth we can only hope to not achieve. Kansas would beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Oh.
In the 2 or 3 games I watched Nebraska, they were trash boat. Texas versus Nebraska would likely be a close game.
I'm going to go Wisconsin.
No, it's Texas.
Oh.
And they're trash, we're trash.
It's just Texas.
Texas, like, they're trash, we're trash.
Yeah.
Be a close game.
Hashtag it's just Texas. Because, like, we think of all these difficult answers to questions about how bad a program can be, and then it's hashtag it's just Texas.
If you're going to go big, go big. If you're going to be bad, be terrible.
Who has a $200 million athletic budget and won 5 games last year? Don't try too hard. Hashtag it's just Texas.
I mean, you know, their motto is nothing's big. What is it? Like nothing's bigger than Texas or whatever. It's Texas and it's big and it's mixed. And so just if you're going to go big, Texas, if you're going to lose, go big and lose a lot.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
This day in sports history. Putting things in perspective, exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker.
You're so old. When you were a kid, rainbows were black and white.
And Amanda LaFratta.
New kids on the block just called. They wanted you as a backup dancer.
All righty, Amanda LaFratta. What do we have this day in sports history?
All right, so it's a sad one for a lot of people.
I have a serious one too. If you're going in the same direction, I'm going to kill the bet. We're talking about somebody that played for the Lakers?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm going to kill the bet. So, yeah.
Don't take it. I found it.
Okay, well, I mean, go ahead. But it is something I wanted to mention.
Well, go ahead then. I don't have much to say.
Well, it's funny how sometimes in death, because today would have been Kobe Bryant's 43rd birthday. Is that correct?
He was born in 1978.
So you learn a lot more about a person because he was the vilified rival as a Celtics fan. But I still remember where I was in this very spot working on putting together what sits in front of me and bugging Amanda all the time. And part of the reason, honestly, was because of a guy that I rooted against, passed away way too early. And, you do a little bit of research into Kobe Bryant and you realize that he had sleep patterns designed around how he could practice. He would sleep in 4-hour chunks. It was just so the whole thing was getting each and everything out of each and every day that you can. So I found that to be very inspirational. And it's just a darn shame. I don't care who you root for. If you're a Celtics fan, Lakers fan, whoever, that guy deserved longer. And I poked fun for years because of the Aspen and the Denver thing. And I don't know what happened there, but there was a lot to appreciate about the man. And yeah, it's just still an incredible tragedy. That's all I got. I had to go for it.
I mean, it was a terrible tragedy. No one should die that young, especially, I mean, it's Kobe, but his daughter dying. I mean, my God, that's awful. And for her, like the poor wife, again, I know that whole Denver thing. If you are a fan of Kobe Bryant, do not read that report from Denver. It's not good. It's not good. So with all of this, like Deshaun Watson and all that stuff coming around, we don't want to say anything terrible about Kobe because he's passed away, but that report, it's horrible. So anywho, I hope, he's resting in peace, and I hope him and Gianna are, somewhere playing basketball together. Just my hope. So let's just go in sports history. 1988, Mike Tyson and Mitch Green brawl at 4 a.m. in Harlem.
4 a.m.? Why?
4 a.m. in Harlem. I don't know why.
Real sanction fight?
No, I think they just brawled.
Just got in a fight.
At 4 a.m. Why would they sanction a fight at 4 a.m.?
Like that Rocky scene where he fights his adopted son.
I think they're just like, you know what? Screw it. We're going at it.
What else you got, Amanda?
I'm going to leave it there because I don't really have much else. That was like the best thing I had.
Yeah, can't beat random fights. That was good stuff. She's Amanda LaFratta. Yeah. I'm Dave Hooker, offthehooksports.com. We'll have the latest on the Mohan situation and Bru McCoy. So go to offthehooksports.com for more. This is a presentation of Off the